Today, I'm going to share 6 things that I learned working at Google that helped me become a better entrepreneur and a better business owner. So let's get started. So before we started my entrepreneur journey, before we started opening my first startup, I spent 10 years working at corporate jobs. I spent like 5 years working at P&G in marketing, and then almost 4 years working at Google, also in B2B marketing. While like I'm not the type of person that always wanted to to build long careers in corporate jobs, those years were really, really important for me to learn a lot of different things that then helped me become a better entrepreneur, that helped me start my own companies and build successful companies. Especially talking about Google, there are 6 things that help me become a better entrepreneur. So the first thing is transparency, and that's one thing that is that's very key to Google's culture. That every week, all the top leaders at Google, and before they change CEOs, really Larry Page, Sergey Brin, so every week, all the top leaders at Google, they answered any questions that any employee had about the company, about competition, about strategy, about products, really, really anything. So this kind of transparency, of course, that maybe they can't share every details about everything that's going on at Google, but this kind of transparency helps a lot to drive leadership and trust inside the company. So being very transparent is very important to build a culture that it's around trust and is around success. So I think that was the first thing that I learned while working with. The second thing is the ability to test different ideas, different products, being able to fail and then fix and run, right? So even at Google, that it's a big company right now, so it's not a startup anymore, you are allowed to test different things, right? So you are allowed to come up with new ideas, with new opportunities, with new products, and test them by yourself so you can see if they work or not. So that ability to really test everything, and it's really on Google's culture. So, and that it's what drives innovation, right? So if you are not testing different things, and if you're not failing, and like if you're not really looking after different ways to do different products or services, you're not innovating, right? So I think that that's one of the most important things on Google's culture, the ability to test, and you are really afraid to do that. And even if you failed, you are not failing in Google's eyes. So I think that was a very important thing, especially for me. That I always wanted to start my own companies, start my own startups, and that culture of test, run, fail, and repeat, I think it's very important. The third thing is Google is a very project-based company. What I mean by that is that every person in there has your own project. So it doesn't matter if you are working on that project at night, or during the weekends, or on your own, or on a trip. So you are responsible for delivering that project. And that's really important because you have to become more accountable for the things that you need to deliver, right? So you don't need to keep micromanaging your team in order to make sure that everything is going to be delivered, because again, coming back to the trust part of Google's culture. So everyone trusts you that you're going to deliver the project that was assigned to you. So I think that's a very important thing on a big company like Google. And also that's another thing that I'm using today in my company. The fourth thing, and this is a very small, and let's say feature about Google's culture, is a 15-minute meeting. So every meeting that we have there doesn't have 1 hour. It only has 50 minutes, because especially Google, that has a lot of different campuses, a lot of different buildings, sometimes you have to commute to one building to another. So you need at least 10 minutes to go to your next meeting. So having this 15-minute rule, it's very nice, and everyone kind of goes by that rule. So it works really, really well. The fifth thing is having a free meeting day. In my case, of course, Google is a big company, has a lot of different areas, a lot of different in a lot of different countries. So talking specifically about the area that I worked before. So we always had a free meeting day every week. In our case, it was every Friday. So every Friday, we weren't allowed to book any meetings. So it was a day just focused on getting to work. So getting the work done, right? So, and that's, of course, that's what's most important. And again, that was really important because sometimes we get stuck into a lot of different meetings almost every day, and it's hard to really sit down and get to work and really get things done. And going back to the project-based culture, so it's really important for you to have time to work on your project. So having this free meeting day, it's really nice, and it works really well inside the company. The sixth thing I would say is not a positive thing about working at Google. I think it's maybe the worst thing, and in my opinion, is that Google is a very, very political company. What I mean by that is that sometimes it's more important for you to share your work internally than the actual work that you do. And I don't like that at all. And that was one of the reasons that I decided to quit my job earlier than expected maybe. But I don't like that. I like to really get the work done. I like to be very productive. So I don't like kind of wasting my time on showing my work to other key people just to show how good I am. I know this is important, especially in a big company, but that's not for me. Again, that's something that I learned while there, but that's something that I don't like, and that's something that for the next companies that I'm gonna start, I don't like to do. I'm definitely not gonna do that inside my culture, right? So that's something that is not good, that I definitely don't want to have on my company. I just wanted to also say a last nice thing that I learned while working at Google was having working at a standing desk. So that was so cool, and I don't know why, but my productivity skyrocketed after I started to use standing desk at Google. That I kind of after that I always wanted to have my own standing desk at home or in my office. So that was also a nice thing that I learned while working at Google. Also, I just want to say that working at Google was a great experience. I learned a lot from it. I really, really enjoyed all the time that I spent there. And I think one of the best things at working at Google is not the perks, it's not the free food, which is great, but also it's like working with great people, right? Maybe like I was working with one of the brightest minds that I've ever worked with, and that is so cool because I learned a lot from them. Like the guys that like other people that work there, they are so smart. I remember on my onboarding call, my first week working at Google. So all the people that was starting to work on that week was on the same meeting, and the guy asked, "Okay, so please share one nice thing that you did when you were a kid," right? And one guy just raised a hand and said, "Okay, so when I was like, I don't know, like 12 years old, I built my own keyboard." I was like, "Okay." When I was 12 years old, I was playing video games. Like, so these are the type of people that you work with at Google, and that's really nice because I learned a lot from them. So, but yeah, I hope this video is helpful. Hope you can take those things also and apply to your business and apply to your company so you can become more productive as well. Again, feel free to reach out to me on the link down below so we can talk more about productivity, about automation, and making your company more efficient. Thank you.